Good afternoon from Washington, D.C. This is not Ben Allison. It's your boy Shad. Shad Talks Scraps. I am here hosting today. I get the great opportunity to host Monday Night Raw from last night. We doing a review on that. And it was quite a good show, man. There's a lot of big matches on there, some big talking points that a lot of people on the internet are going crazy about. And we're here to discuss it all. I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have a all-star unit with me. We're gonna start off out in Philly, the home of good old WrestleMania. My boy Anthony, how you doing, bro?
Doing all right, not bad, not bad. It's the first time I've done a Tuesday show in a while, and the first time I've done a show with you hosting, and it's not Thursday, so
Right.
I don't have to talk about throwback. All right, well I got to wait a couple days, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was a fun Raw, a couple great topics that we're going to cover, and should be fun.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I know I'm working on Tuesday. Y'all usually see me on Tuesday night, but y'all are seeing me on Tuesday during the day. But we're not here alone. We got a third person. I feel like Aaron Rodgers because I'm throwing touchdowns to Jordy, not Jordy Nelson, but Jordy over here. How you doing, bro?
There's that reference for Geordie. I wondered what you were talking about earlier. I'm good, man. I'm good. Good evening from the UK. It is, what time is it? It's 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Over here in the UK. So, any UK listeners, good evening to you. And yeah, I'm excited. It was a good Raw. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It kept me entertained right up from, well, yeah, from the start to the finish. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
And let us talk about it. I won't lie to you guys. I don't watch Monday Night Raw as consistently on live television because 3 hours is a lot. But I agree with y'all. I share a lot of similar feelings in regards that it was a very good show and it went by pretty quickly, and that's always a great thing. And what started off was a wonderful promo exchange between a title match that we have at WrestleMania: Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins trying to get Drew to take the bait, trying to get in his mind, I felt. And it seemed like he kind of shook him a little bit, right? I thought it was a great exchange. I think a lot of people have been very, what's the word? Feeling like, oh, a lot of the TV time is going on to that night one. A lot of it is going to the bloodline. We aren't giving Drew and Seth the right build. I kind of disagree. I think they've had a very solid build. I think Drew McIntyre has done some of the best work that he's done in a while as a heel. And I thought their exchange yesterday was really, really good. I'm gonna kick it off to you, Anthony. What were your feelings about the promo between these two?
I think WWE's done a phenomenal job of pivoting with this year's Mania. Punk goes down. It was presumed that Punk was probably going to be the guy facing Seth, and they've done it in a way that Drew feels natural. It doesn't feel like he's just being a fill-in, and I think that's smart. This promo is the continuing of this cat and mouse game that Seth and Drew are playing with one another. They're both playing mind games every week, taking little shots, and they're keeping Punk's name alive, like they had mentioned him last night. So eventually Punk's going to come back into play when he is healthy. Whether or not maybe they pull him in, maybe he's a guest referee. Who knows? I think it's interesting that they're mentioning him, and it's smart. It's in an anticipation where, like you said, it could be watered down with the bloodline because the focus is the mega tag match, which is ironic because the first WrestleMania was main evented by a tag match. So it is smart, to pay homage to the history of Mania, the 40th one. But Drew and Seth is going to be a phenomenal match. I think it's going to be entertaining. And whenever you're on the road to WrestleMania, that's the best stuff. That's why Raw typically will go by feeling quicker because it's all anticipated matches. or it's the build to a match, and it's great time to be a fan when you're watching it because it's enjoyable and it doesn't feel like a drag watching 3 hours.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. And that's been the beauty of this Mania season. I feel like they've done a very great job at setting up a lot of these storylines in a good direction. Obviously, there's other matches that kind of built within storyline later on in this show, but I agree to your point. Jordy, what are your feelings about it, man? Do you kind of agree with the same sentiment? Do you disagree?
Yeah. No, yeah, as much as I could appreciate if I could sit here and disagree with you, it would make for a better podcast. But I can't lie to yourself or the myself or the viewers because I do agree. I think it was a very solid opening. I think one of the key things that has made it not feel forced, what you were talking about, Anthony, there is how Drew from the off kind of didn't say it plainly that he's taken CM Punk's spot, but he very much alluded to it in a lot of the things that he was saying. And the fact that it was Drew that took Punk out, and the whole I prayed for this, it instantly it gave that little bit of realism to it because take the kayfabe out of it, Drew McIntyre, the person, will have been sat there probably annoyed that CM Punk might have come back in and taken a shot at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins that maybe he would have been lined up for had Punk not come back. So it adds that little bit of realism to it that you know that there's a little bit of truth behind what he says. I'm not saying that he is actually happy that Punk's hurt or anything like that. I'm sure as a person he's not. But yeah, I think that's been a key player in it. And I'm just, one thing that I find quite confusing about it, but not in a necessarily a bad way, is I feel like rather Drew is doing heel work for sure. But I feel like it's almost going down this like almost Batman like route where we do like him, but we accept he's gonna do some bad things. But I don't know. It's the crowd. He's very over with the crowd despite doing heel work. I'm still hoping that he might come out at one point to Punk's music because I think just it's throwback to when Heyman did it. I think the way that Drew's worked so far, I think even maybe at the Chicago show, open the show with Punk's music and have Drew walk out laughing. I think that might be quite a cool move, and then have Punk come out obviously later on to the music, so they get the actual pop. But no, yeah, I think it's good. I think it's building. I'm excited for this match, and I do think, again, echoing what was said, CM Punk as a special guest referee might just add that little bit of that cherry on top of the match. I
Ooh.
already want to see it, but throw
Oh
Punk in there,
man.
and I'm as excited for it almost as I am for Cody and Roman. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Man, it's crazy to think that the talk of the town when Punk returned was we wanted to see him and Seth have their match and build to that storyline. But my oh my, is there a world where Drew McIntyre has kind of surpassed the excitement in a feud with Punk? Like, I don't know. I think the fact that he is taking these personal jabs and, you know, I think it's a wonderful blend of reality and
Yeah.
keeping it kayfabe in a way too. Like it's not crossing muddy waters, but it's still pretty good. You agree with that, Anthony?
Yeah, the best stuff in wrestling is stuff that is fused with realism, or at least elements to it, and things that can connect to the audience. I think, like you said, Jordy, the reason the crowd is sort of accepting Drew because the heel turn was based on something that was relatable. Like he was opposed to people accepting Jey Uso after the years of the bloodline. So people understood why he had the lack of trust because fans have had people that have betrayed them and had resentment and doesn't understand why no one else doesn't have resentment. So I think a lot of that was based on it was relatable in
And
a
it was
weird way.
dramatic as well. It wasn't your kind of standard. I'm going to stand here and slag off the city that we're in, and get some booze. He
So
actually
true.
brought up that he wasn't there for funerals of family members because he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be a world champion so much.
Yeah.
So that's not someone I'm gonna boo. That's someone I'm gonna go, right, yeah, you're probably gonna do some messed up stuff now, but I kind of get it. Like, you've
He,
made sacrifices. So I think they've it's not unintentional on the creative part of WWE that we feel like this about Drew, but I really like the avenue and the kind of grey
Yeah.
mhm.
Jedi area
Absolutely.
that he's sat in at the minute.
It
it,
is it is fascinating the fact that like this year and last year WWE had somehow figured out a way where they've hit a jackpot no matter what direction they go in their WrestleMania World Title matches. Last year it was they could have went with the Sami Zayn hand or they could have went with the Cody hand. This year it's like, well, we were going to do Punk, but Punk got injured. All right, so let's throw Drew in there, and we're also bringing The Rock back. Like they're hitting on all
Yeah.
cylinders, and the crowd is behind Cody. They would not allow The Rock to take his spot like that. Like they've hit such a sweet spot. You can't even. They couldn't book that if they wanted to. It's natural and
mhm.
organic, and that's why
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, they're cooking with like the best seasoning and hot oil right now
Yeah.
and creating a wonderful dish. Like I think that WWE is like is clicking on all cylinders, and that's a great thing for professional wrestling. Yeah, man, and a lot of people agree in the comments too. We got some comments that I'll put out. The first one is our good buddy, the Soul Sessions, Shad's hosting. Last time this happened, I get that joke.
I wasn't going there, but I
Oh
appreciate
my
that, Soul.
goodness, that is
I
funny,
wasn't on
buddy.
that one.
Yeah, man, our good buddy Bobby Petito throwing up them twos. What's going on, boss? He is also agreeing with us. He's saying Drew McIntyre could be the guy that beats Seth Rollins at Mania. Hey man, I talked about it on the pod last Friday, or no, yesterday actually, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. It's Monday. On Mailbag, and I agree, man. I think he's a good option for it. He's a hot commodity for WWE, and if these rumors of he's a free agent is true or upcoming, man, that guy is gonna get the Brinks truck from WWE
the,
because they not letting him walk out the door.
the kicker of those rumors have been flying around for at least a year now, or close
Yeah,
to it.
I
It's
know.
like,
We don't
yeah,
acknowledge all of
yeah.
that. Also on Instagram, someone saying it's Taco Tuesday. That sounds quite delicious. I am not gonna lie about that. We got another comment, but I'm gonna show that at a later time when we get to that topic. So let's get to this next topic though.
Mhm.
We had a show that displayed a lot of women's matches last night, and that was something that I really liked a lot.
Mhm.
um, we are seeing that since the Rumble till now, the WWE Women's Division and also the Elimination Chamber, of course,
Mhm.
is a stacked roster. There's a lot of incredible female talents in general, and I'm loving the fact that we get to display them more. And we had quite a match. We had the man Becky Lynch, who I always call the bad goat women's wrestler, going against someone who I'm very tough on and I critique a lot, and Miss Liv Morgan. And I'm here to say that I apologize, Liv. I underestimated your game. You have been very, very good these last few weeks. This character work of her wanting to get redemption and kind of being a little crazy to it and going throughout, jumping through every hoops that she needs to, has been a treat, and I'm really liking it. And I thought her and Becky Lynch had a phenomenal television match last night. They got the time, the chemistry was fluid, and this storyline with Becky going into Mania, where she has to kind of fight through all these fights to get to the main boss, and it's one of those situations. Is Becky gonna be triumphant and go through all these wars and win the final war, or is she not is she thinking harder, not smarter, and is Rhea gonna be able to take advantage of that? I think it's a very compelling story. I thought they had a magnificent match overall. My fellow Throwback Thursday brethren, how'd you feel about the match?
See, that's the thing. Like, I agree with you, Shad, in the sense that like Liv Morgan, I was kind of indifferent about. Like when they were pushing her and she won the women's title, it fell flat. And in a lot of ways, it reminded me of when AEW gave their world title to Hangman, for example, where it's like there was all this build to get him the belt, and it was build to get her the belt. And then once they got there, like, all right, now what? Like it didn't connect, and I think that was a problem for her. But this character that she now has, this almost crazed character, looking for revenge, looking for redemption, looking for like to get back with the Sharks. I like this version. I like that Becky's fighting through these people. Like she's not just sitting there going, "I won the Rumble. I got the world title." Like she's not just sitting back. She's going to wrestle in a last woman standing match next week with Nia. So like it's smart, I'm wondering based on the way they're building this and Nia attacking them backstage. I'm wondering whether or not Rhea and Becky might not be one on one and they might go 4-way with Liv and Nia.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because the way they're doing it, I prefer just Becky and Rhea one on one, but I'm curious to see how they're going to wrap this up if they don't go 4-way because it seems like the four of them are somehow involved in this, and I'm not exactly sure how they close this down
Uh-huh.
to just the one on one. But I'm enjoying the ride. I think, this is a good thing for Liv if he can continue on with this. And, it's showing Becky's going through, all the obstacles, all the gauntlet, if you will, to get to arguably one of the most dominant women's champions that there's been in many years. So it makes sense to gear herself up by going through the trials essentially. So like I said, I enjoyed last night's match, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here.
No, oh man. So I can see that happening, and it would be in very WWE nature to do that,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want that at
Either do I.
all.
Either do I. I'm just afraid based on history and how they're doing it. I don't know how you wrap that up. And I'm
Yeah,
curious to see how that pans out.
I agree. It's a fear. It's not a
It
want. It's a fear.
it's a fair because Becky and Rhea is such a
Mm-hmm.
like main stage match. Like in any other circumstance, it holds the same weight of being a potential main event. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
and my main thing was like, oh, I don't know if it's being booked good enough, but I think they've like kicked the wheels and it's getting booked well now within the storyline. It is the and it this is the one thing, and other storylines are tied in this as well. Um, it's part of this very like multiple doors like booking going into Mania. Like you really don't know which direction things are gonna go to, and it's like it's like reading a book of like Goosebumps. Remember, you could
Yeah.
choose your ending, or you
Yeah.
know.
I,
I think, with Rhea particularly, I think they might be gearing her up to take the longest women's title reign. It's literally from playing on WWE 2K24 on my rise, and it came up saying that Asuka currently holds it, and it's for the NXT reign that she had.
mhm.
And I don't know if WWE like that. I think that they'll want their women's champion reign record to be held on the main card.
Main roster.
Um, yeah. So and I just don't know if they're gonna do the whole thing to Becky what they've done to Cody this year, and with the potential, I'm thinking of it, thinking trying to outside of the fourth wall. There's potential that Seth's gonna lose his title.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Becky and Seth could take a break for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know that.
I,
That's
I
entirely
I
possible.
I
It really is.
I don't think Becky is gonna win at Mania. I do think Rhea is gonna retain. I think the person that beats her is gonna be potentially like a person they're trying to get to that next level, another young star, maybe Jade, who knows. Um we got a comment about another women's uh championship, Bailey versus Dakota Kai. SummerSlam for the WWE Women's Championship because I know Bailey is winning the title at Mania. Um Very possible. I do like the I do like the story of damage control that is being told for that title as well. And You know what else I like, guys? I like the ability of potentially getting free tickets to go to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
And times is tough right now. Um, money's a little bit of in a crunch to people, but our good buddies at Next Level have a contest, and he's not here right now, but he's about to be on your screen. And my buddy Ben Allison is going to tell you how you can potentially win tickets to WrestleMania.
Hi, I'm Ben Allison from Wrestling Republic, but today you can call me Tony Khan because I have an important announcement for you, and that announcement is that we are teaming up with our great friends over at Next Level, the Next Level app, to give away 2 WrestleMania tickets for night 2 of WrestleMania and the Raw after WrestleMania. This giveaway is huge, and let me run you guys through it. You can win 2 tickets to night 2 of WrestleMania 40, in addition to 2 tickets for Raw after WrestleMania the night after. You'll also get a hotel between April 7th and 9th, and this will be at the Wyndham Philadelphia Historic District. You'll also have a round trip shuttle from hotel to Lincoln Financial Field for the WrestleMania show. You'll have exclusive pre-show tailgate with superstar appearances, a dedicated stadium entrance, Superstore Express Lane, and a WWE credential / lanyard. This giveaway is huge, and not only that, it is also completely free for you guys, and you guys can, enter with 3 very simple steps. Step 1, you need to use our Connect link. You need to go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic. And you can see all our content, all our links in one place here. But the link that you guys want to get is right at the bottom. And that will be a link to the WrestleMania giveaway. You click there, you register there, then you go into step 2. Step 2 is even simpler. You download the Next Level app, and how you spell it is NXLVL on the App Store, on the Google Play Store, any of those types of stores, and you download the app and you create an account. Easy. We all know how to do it. And then step 3 is you take a picture or video of yourself wearing your favorite wrestler's merchandise or whatever wrestling merchandise that you have, and you put the hashtag as the caption and comment it as well, saying Next Level WrestleMania. That's hashtag NXLVL WrestleMania, all one word, and then you are entered. It's as simple as that. 3 simple steps, and it helps us out too. It helps out Next Level. So please enter and please join the thriving wrestling community on there. I can't wait to see you all enter.
Man. If you guys are not participating in that, I'm just going to assume that you don't like free stuff. And me, as a person that has a free, I'm on my buddy's Costco family plan, I go through the free samples all the time. So free stuff is great. It's better when you don't have to pay for it. Follow the steps and go to the Next Level site, man. All of our links are there. You'll have all the YouTube pages tied to it. You'll have the Instagram, Twitter or X. Everything is all synchronized there. It's very convenient. So salute to the guys at Next Level. And yeah, let's continue the show, which goes with what I thought was one of the most awkward yet intriguing things of the night. We had a tag team match, which was very lack of a tag team match between Miss Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile versus The Way, Indy Hartwell, and Candice LeRae. And man, oh man, my girl Maxine is trying to do the worm and just gets bullied into a loss. Candice LeRae is a bully, and it caught me by surprise. I'm used to heel Candice back on NXT. I think this is better suited for her, and they are going off of the reality of what's happening. Candice kind of said some stuff that Christian Cage might be a fan of. Jordy, what did you think about the segment, man?
um, yeah, it was like you said, intriguing is definitely the right word. I think it's received a little bit of backlash online. I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think it was a bad segment. I think it definitely took us as viewers by surprise, and is leaning into I know online there's Maxine. There was a clip going around of Maxine getting booed out of a house show. So leaning into a realistic storyline, and we mentioned it before, it's kind of when WWE can sort of put the best work together because it's emotive. You genuinely feel that these people are feeling these things. Um, so yeah, and I think what it was for me initially, and it's something that I'll get used to more, is it seems such a pivot for Candice all of a sudden. Yeah, I know she said something last week, and you could tell that kind of we were going towards this. But then it just seems all of a sudden to just be screaming at her in the corner in the ring, which I just think is always an odd dynamic when Maxine's taller than Candice and she's acting scared. I think that kind of threw me off a little bit. But again, I think the storyline could well work. I think it's probably going to be a good thing for Maxine. People get behind her, or maybe it would be funny to see Maxine go the other way and actually heel turn herself.
Ooh.
I don't know what that might be, but I was just, and I mentioned it to you guys sort of last night in the chat. I don't know whether it might have been better to see Shayna Baszler do this, where
Hmm.
Shayna is a kind of not to the level of Gunther being the ring general, but with her MMA background, she is a purist. Probably would you say that the mat is sacred? With you coming in here making a mockery of it, kind of, and to see Shayna portray that angle, and Shayna is scary. That I don't know. I think that would have been to me a little bit made a bit more sense, and maybe not got the reaction that it got. But I'm really interested to see where this goes, very much so. Because I think it's quite interesting that it's obviously it's not a dual, it's not a tag team heel turn because Indy doesn't look impressed with what's happening. Although she was quite happy to boot Maxine in the face, but she doesn't. She would after that she didn't seem impressed. But if Candice has got a problem with a worm, then listen, we've got a conversation. That's the
it,
worms. The worm's an iconic move. Like nobody said anything
it's
to
not
Scotty
only
2
the
Hotty.
worm; it's a
Yeah.
reverse worm. Like
Yeah.
she doing that joint backwards, which is crazy. I agree to your. I do like your point about Shayna because she is more of an imposing threat. Um, Maxine Dupree is really tall, by the way. I didn't realize she's
Yeah.
that tall. It's either Candice is that short or Maxine is like
I think it's both. I
I think
think
it's
it's
a
a little.
little column A, a little column B, honestly.
Maxine.
Yeah.
Like Maxine is like almost like Rhea's height. She's just a lot like not as like built. She's more slim frame, but she is tall. And you know, salute to her. I think beside like she was getting in a rhythm last night, and then that happened, and I think that kind of made me a little like, ah man, like girl actually starting to like listen into the cues and getting better in ring. But we'll see what happens. Um, but yeah, man. After that though, we had a segment, and I want to ask you, Anthony,
Mhm.
what do you want to talk about? Because I want to talk about the waterworks last night of
Mhm.
Mister Finish Your Story.
Yeah.
I took the Cody crybabies. Hey, Cody is a crybaby, huh? He looked like a crybaby last night. But all
Mate,
jokes
I was
aside,
crybabying with him, man.
I was tearing up a little bit too. I ain't gonna lie. Um, very emotional, very passionate promo last night from Cody. Um, we are continuing the road to WrestleMania with him and the storyline tied to his story and the bloodline. Anthony, break the segment down. Let me know how you felt about it.
I've probably written about Cody more than anybody else the entire time with Wrestling Republic. This is a story that when it originally was brought up when he returned after 38 and said why he came back, or that he wanted to finish the story that started with Dusty in 1977. I understood it. A lot of fans understood the motivation, admired it. As time has gone by, as the story has gone on, there's things that happened in my personal life, and I feel more connected to that story because of what I went through. That I it motivates me really to see him do this and to achieve this. I get it. There's a connection to his father, and he wants to finish the story that Dusty couldn't and win the title he couldn't. Last night was a phenomenal example of Cody's passion for this and why the fans care, because it's based on that realism. It's based on something that the fans can sink their teeth in and relate to. Whether they've lost a parent or they haven't, they get it. They understand it. And, Cody's mother, obviously, when he's talking about her, he's thinking about Dusty and that father son connection. When you lose a parent, you lose a part of yourself. And the connection to Dusty is in that ring, that title, and his mother. So I understood that. And I thought it was a phenomenal example of continuing to push this story and to remind fans this is why you're backing this guy. This is why you want to see this story pay off at 40. So I thought it was a great promo, and especially if you're going to do it without all the pieces there. Obviously, because Roman does certain days, Rock does certain days. There's certain ones, but that promo did a great job because, again, it's cemented in something that the fans could connect to. It's not just a wrestling storyline. It's based on something that the fans understand. They love Dusty. They love Cody. They want to see the story. They want to see it finish at Mania on the grandest stage. It's fitting and it works. And to see Cody hand that title to his mother, let's say it happens at Mania, she's at ringside. That's a WrestleMania moment. That it's smart and it's something. It's a lightning in a bottle scenario. You can't book that quality of a story on its own. It's organic, and that's what makes this thing work, in my opinion.
Nah, I agree 100% with you, and I think that is like what you said. This is the reason why we are backing him. I think as a baby face, the empathy is always the biggest thing, and Cody Rhodes to me is a guy who has been a multiple slam dunk signing for him, getting him back. He feels right at home, and he does stuff to a T as a babyface. He makes every storyline feel real. He is a he's a company man. He does what he needs to do, man. We got a couple comments before we get to the next section. We got my man Bobby Petito. So the previous take, he said, I like Candice and Indy as a tag team. Yep, they definitely have good chemistry with each other. He also saying that I hope Cody finishes his story. We all do. We all do, man. We really all hope that he does finish his story. Um, a lot of people on Wrestling Republic are butting heads on that take, and that we'll see at happens at Mania who is accurate and who is not accurate.
We'll have a big
Um,
tag match.
yeah, man, we got a multi man match on our thing. Ooh. But speaking of family, let's get to this next topic, and that is another storyline that is driven by family. Jay Uso coming out, cutting a promo, speaking about the person that is closest to his bloodline, and that is his twin brother, Jimmy. Jimmy's been coming for him, kind of ruining opportunities. Um, Thought it was, a bit of a quick promo, but it gets the ball rolling on what we expect to be a Jimmy and Jay match at Mania, which I am all for. Also, besides that, I know that you, Jordy, wanted to also speak about a tag team match that happened. So I'm gonna give
Mm.
you a little bit of a double timer right here. First, let me know how you felt about the Uso promo, and then the awesome truth in Damian Priest Judgment Day.
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all feel the same way about Jimmy and Jey. So I would struggle. I can't imagine me meeting a kind of wrestling fan that you say, "Oh, would you want to see Jimmy and Jey Uso fight at WrestleMania?" They would turn around and say, "No, thanks. I'll leave that." I can't imagine a scenario where that would happen. If there is anyone in the comments to prove me wrong, fair play. But yeah, it's about time. We've had it. It's called out. I'm sure Jimmy's going to accept it, and we're going to get the poster in the City of Brotherly Love. These two who grew up wrestling each other, like the interview they did with, I think it was Ariel Helwani, and they said that they want to do it because it's like being back in the living room, and that's it. That is exactly it. Chemistry is such an important thing in pro wrestling, and even something I'm learning that now because I've recently got in the ring myself, and you can't teach it. And those two have been doing it together for so long that I wouldn't want to follow that match at all. I think follow it with like the crazy tag team ladder match or something like that, because, or like let it open one of the shows, because I think that is potentially a limelight stealer of a match, if you end up putting it anywhere near the main event. But yeah, so that's how I feel about that. In terms of Damian Priest, now I love Damian Priest. When I started getting really back into wrestling, Ralph, I've just seen your comment and I agree, and I'm going to talk about it right now. So I love Damian Priest. He was one of the people when I sort of came back into wrestling, I really wanted to see where he was going. He was North American NXT champion at the time, and I think this man has got potential. I'm so excited to see where he's going. When it comes to the Money in the Bank briefcase, though, I feel like it's somehow dragged him down rather than taking him up to the main event level. I think that they fumbled the bag a little bit with him. I think it's taken a bit away from the tag team run that Finn and Damien. When you look at Finn and Damien, that is a hell of a team. It's a hell of a pairing. And it's just, for me, not really felt like that. And I feel like because the shadow of the briefcase has been looming over him, because of, I wasn't against the Truth storyline. I thought that was incredible and could have gone on with the tag team belts. But especially with the way we've seen things played out, I think that briefcase should have either gone to LA Knight or he should have gone to Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And Logan Paul particularly, what we don't like when people cash in on a mid-card title, we don't. But if Logan Paul did it, yeah, he doesn't. He's doing something that the crowd don't like. Big shock. That's what Logan Paul does, and it would have been so important for Logan to just get his hands on gold. So I would, as a person, kind of understand why, if I was Logan Paul, I would probably try and cash it on a mid-card title because I just want my hand on some WWE gold. He ends up with the US title anyway, and I just feel like they could have kind of tied that up quite nicely. Logan won the briefcase, paraded it around on social media, did some great business work for it, whatever, then cashed it in on Rey Mysterio, and we'd be in the same scenario we are now without it kind of looming over Damien. So yeah, that was just something I wanted to get off my chest, and this was the perfect platform for it, really.
Nah, that's an interesting take, and I don't disagree with you on the standpoint of that. The briefcase has lost a lot of validity these last few years. I'll be real with you.
I think
Um,
Logan or LA Knight were the two options in that match. I don't think Damian Priest was one of the more viable options, but
yeah, it's one of those cases where I feel like it could have made sense, but they've dragged it so long now
and
where
so much changed. Punk came back,
yeah,
Randy came back. Like,
Drew, we have a new iteration of what Drew is as a character. You
yes,
know, we got that main roster on Raw, the heavyweight division, Jay Uso. You know, even guys who are in this match that we're going to talk about right after this. Uh, I mean, yeah, man, it's difficult. And
yeah.
we'll have to wait and see. Um, man, oh man, oh man, did we have quite a main event? This ran almost the course of the last hour, and this was an intercontinental gauntlet match. Um, I loved everything about the presentation leading to it. I loved all the promo packages from all
Mm.
the wrestlers. I loved them going on the history of everything. But most importantly, what did I love? I love the winner of this match. My boy, you see him right behind me on that portrait, Sami Zayn. I know a lot of people on the internet are upset that he won and Chad Gable didn't get his opportunity. Chad Gable is going to do great things in this business. He's a star. He looked great last night. But Sami Zayn is one of a kind. This man is the ultimate babyface. He can do it all as a babyface. He cuts fiery promos. He makes you want to root for him. And I think him and Gunther is the right move going into Mania. Will he beat Gunther? I don't know. But he can sell you to make you believe that he might beat Gunther because you really want him to win. Um, did his thing. I thought everybody in that match was stellar. The final two really put in work. And Sami Zayn, man, month of Ramadan, fasting, going into that gauntlet match. Probably drank his water and ate something light before he had a match. Kudos to you, man. I just had to put that out there because I know I've been getting a lot of arguments with people in our chat today about that. But I'm gonna kick it off to you, Anthony. What did you feel about the gauntlet, and did you think it should have been Gable, or do you think Sammy was the right winner?
I gotta be honest, I've always liked gauntlet matches, especially when they're done right. In this situation, you kind of knew, no matter how many people were in it, you knew it was either Sammy or Gable going in. But I thought everyone kind of had like a nice little showcase leading up to it. You had mentioned the promo packages. I love those. Nobody does better documentary promo package stuff than WWE. Nobody does. Them coming down to the final two, it was an incredible match just between those two. And honestly, you looked at it and you were like, I'm okay with either guy. Like that's the fun, that's the great part is because either guy would fit and it would work. Both guys, no matter which one it was, would be an underdog against Gunther. So, but for me, Sammy was the logical choice. Sammy is a guy that is continuing to show just how really good he is. He's the underdog from the underground. That was the tagline at one point. Him against Gunther is really a David versus Goliath scenario. And as much as I like Chad Gable, I really do. I think in a lot of ways, the more you see Chad, you're like, it's Kurt Angle esque, but without. I don't think he's found a gear of his own. Like in a lot of ways, you see him, and it's like it feels like he's playing Kurt Angle in the ring. The shush thing was never big for me. I know some people really liked it, but I really think he needs to find that intensity, that drive, like that Kurt Angle type drive, to get to that point. But Sammy's the right choice. I think Sammy's believable of beating Gunther, defying the odds, and somehow pulling it out. Sammy, I don't think there's anybody that has had more dramatic turn over the past few years of Manias. He's fighting Johnny Knoxville at 38. He's winning the tag titles in the main event of night one of 39. And now he is on the verge of possibly winning the Intercontinental title in the 40th Mania. Like, it's a pretty big swing for him. And I think Sammy's a future world champion, personally. It should be. I think Gable will eventually get that Intercontinental title, but Sammy, Gunther, that's a Mania match. Like, that feels like a Mania match. And no offense to Gable, but it doesn't have that type of draw that Sammy and Gunther does, in my opinion.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that, man. I feel that it's Mania, and I feel you need to have your big dogs at Mania. At the end of the day, you need to put the guys that the fans love draw. As soon as his song hits,
It's
like
it's
the crowd is gonna go crazy, and
it's
it's in Philly.
yeah, it's marquee. You want the marquee matchups, and as much as people get bothered by that, it's the grandest spectacle. You want
Mm.
the biggest names. You want the biggest matchups. That's what you want.
No, I definitely agree. Jordy, talk
Yes.
to me, man. How do you feel? Am I just talking a whole bunch of hoopla, or do you agree or
No, no,
disagree?
I agree with this. I certainly agree with the sentiment. And if I'm not gonna sit here and say that I don't like Sami Zayn and I'm not happy that Sami Zayn is gonna get a singles title shot at WrestleMania, because I am. Not only, and I'm sure this is for quite a lot of the same with Sami Zayn. A lot of people echo this sentiment, is that I don't only like him as a wrestler, I quite like Sami as a person. He seems quite a humble man. So anytime he does well, I'm kind of happy as a fan and happy as a fan and happy as a man. So like it's hard for me to sit here and now say what I'm gonna say, but Sammy had the moment last year where he lifted the tag team titles with his best friend at WrestleMania in the main event of night one. I'm not saying don't include Sammy in WrestleMania, but exactly what Gable's whole kind of video package and everything about it was, it felt like it meant more to me for him to win as well. Just because the reason why I wanted Sammy to like revolt against the bloodline and stuff like that was because of obviously what happened and you see him and what happened to Kevin Owens and and his family were in tears, you know, that whole thing. And I just, for me, it felt like the way that Sammy should be heading towards the world title picture. For me, I feel like the mid card title not isn't been, it's certainly not beneath him, and certainly not when you're fighting Gunther, because, but you're looking at something that is, it's not Undertaker streak level, but it's your opportunity to make somebody take that next level. Like you're saying, Anthony, he hasn't found that drive yet to take him out of what is maybe Kurt Angle's shadow. And I felt like this was it. I felt like this was the moment that was going to do that. This was the breaking point, because he has actually beat Gunther and it didn't look not believable to me when them two wrestled. I felt like it could go either way because of how technically intelligent Chad Gable is in the ring and the feats of strength that you see from him. Obviously, it was a count out victory that he won. Appreciate that, but yeah, I'm just, I feel like the way that they've gone is that Sammy, I don't know, could be joining in with Cody and helping take down the bloodline, because there's a hell of a storyline there. And then once Drew potentially picks up this title at Mania, Sammy's his first contender. But
Mm.
do you see what I mean? So I just feel like Gable is, it was his, it felt like it was his moment to leap out of that shadow that people speak that he's in. And he's never going to be able to do that if he's not given the opportunity. And I don't know what is a common misconception about Chad Gable, I think, is that he's 38 years old. He's not got loads and loads and loads of time left. He's a year younger than Sammy. He's 3 years younger than LA Knight, who people are quite openly say that he's too old to be in the world title picture. So I don't know. I don't know how many times you're gonna get this lightning in a bottle moment with Chad Gable to potentially
Mm.
tie a rocket to him. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I also don't know if this is it. I don't know if we're done. I feel like the way it ended, the handshake, the fact that it was Sammy and Chad at the end, I, I don't know. It feels like, and I also saw before I came online that WWE uploaded something on Instagram of Chad talking about how disappointed he is and stuff like that. And they tend to only do that kind of thing when it's not, that story's not quite finished yet. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll
We'll see.
we'll we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, man, on that note, unfortunately, this is the end, guys. We are done with our show today. But the great news is we'll be back tonight off the air, uh, right after NXT. Me, Drizzy, Clark will be there, and don't forget the daily, man. We are here every single day of the week. Only different times is Thursday, 6 p.m. Don't forget that. But we'll be back tomorrow, 8 UK time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Daylight savings is weird. 1 o'clock Pacific time. I don't know anything about the Hawaiian time. I don't want to do the math. I'm
That's
sorry,
Clark's
Clark.
thing.
But on that note, man, it was a pleasure, fellas. Y'all be easy. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the page. Peace.